Are you thinking about starting medical billing and coding school, but you're not sure what to look for? Well, you're not alone. There's so many different programs out there, and it can really be overwhelming trying to figure out what really matters and then what is just fluff. In this video, I'm going to walk you through what to look for in a medical billing and coding school, the differences between billing and coding, and the key things in your program that you absolutely have to include. I'll also share some common pitfalls to avoid and then some things that can help you make the best decision for you and your future. And stick around because I'll also tell you the program that I would recommend because it does check off all of the boxes and it could be a game changer for your career. First, let's talk about the curriculum. A good medical billing and coding program is going to start with medical terminology and anatomy. Now, you can bypass this if you've been working in healthcare for a while and you already have an understanding of med term and anatomy, but really you can't code accurately if you don't know the basics of how the body works and the terms that providers are using. Now, this does not mean you have to be a clinical expert, that you have to know all of these different things or have them completely memorized, but you have to have this decent, like, baseline knowledge. I know there's been people in the past that have said, like, yes, you can get away with passing the exam and not, having to know all of the medical terminology, but because of how complex the industry has gotten over the past few years, I would tend to disagree. And I'm not saying, again, that you have to be a master of all things, that you have to have, for example, a nurse level knowledge, but you do have to have some basics. Maybe you can't name every muscle in the body, but you do know those foundations of medical terminology. And it really just does make you a faster coder, and it makes you have a better understanding of what you're looking at so you don't wind up asking all kinds of really stupid questions to providers and then getting in trouble. And then a good program should cover the basic coding systems. Now, there's different types of coding. There's four main types of coding: professional fee coding, inpatient coding, outpatient coding, and risk adjustment coding. Most people start out with professional fee coding. So you'll see the certification CPC, or certified professional coder, and that's the type of coding, professional fee. It's not about like professionalism. For professional fee coding, you need ICD-10-CM, CPT, and HCPCS. Those are the bread and butter of physician pro fee coding. If you're interested in facility coding, especially inpatient coding, you will also need to learn ICD-10-PCS. That focuses on procedures for coding for patients who are formally admitted into a hospital as an inpatient. Your program should also prepare you for a certification. Employers are looking for certifications from basically two main bodies, AAPC or HEMA. So big ones are AAPC's CPC certification or the CCS from a HEMA. So make sure that the training that you're doing aligns with the certification that you want to pursue. And again, make sure that your training has the right code set. So if you want to go into inpatient coding, you need to learn ICD-10 PCS. Not all programs do that. A lot of them are targeted more towards the CPC and pro fee coding. I would hate for anyone to go halfway through a program thinking that they're on the right track and then realize, oh my God, it's not going to cover the things that I needed for the right certifications. For general medical coding certifications, there isn't you have to go through this program and it has to be accredited. The accreditation only comes into play with certain HEMA certifications that are ones that you need a certain associate's degree or bachelor's degree from, and those are health information technology degrees, not medical coding degrees. You do not need a degree to get into medical coding, although you really don't need a certification just to get into medical billing. So let's segue into what is the difference between medical billing and medical coding. So they're kind of two sides to the same coin. Medical coding focuses on looking at all these medical records and converting them into standardized codes for procedures, codes for diagnoses, codes for equipment, code for medication. And then we use those for a lot of data tracking, but it's also a very good way to submit our bills and track those as well. So making sure that providers are getting reimbursed for everything that they did, but that patients aren't also being overbilled. And the billing, that's the financial side, submitting the claims to insurance companies, following up on the payments, fighting all those denials. That's more so the billing end of it. And a lot of programs cover both because it's important to have some understanding of both in that process. It makes you very, very versatile. But again, employers care about certifications for coding, Not so much billing. So if your goal is to become a coder, you're going to look for those right certifications, the CPC, the CCS. Spend some time. I say that like once you go through your general training, like maybe you have a program through your local tech school or your employer reimburses a certain program and you're like, oh, this is great. I'm going to sit down and do training in medical billing and coding. Spend a couple of weeks after that really focusing though on that certification exam prep because there's things that you need to know as far as exam platforms, how to tackle questions, how to manage your time, and you need to focus on exam strategy. If you're doing something like the CPC exam, I really recommend getting those official practice exams, going through those, making sure that you're scoring well on those practice exams. Also, going through the study guides, highlighting them, understanding the concepts that they are focusing on for those study guides, because those are the concepts that you'll see on the official examination. Anyone can sit for the CPC exam. Technically, you could sign up and probably take it tomorrow. You're likely not going to do very well, though, unless you went through the right training. Now, there are some programs that are designated as AAPC approved. And that term, AAPC approved, sometimes people will also use that and say accredited through the AAPC, but really it's AAPC approved. And they call it that because that organization, that teacher, that educational institution license the official curriculum from the AAPC. So they say, hey, we don't want to have to invent a whole medical coding program. Why don't we just pay you thousands of dollars and you give us the curriculum that you've already developed and we can then, because we're paying you this licensing fee, we can teach that at our school. That does not mean that you have to use that curriculum in order to sit for the CPC exam. Again, anyone could take the CPC exam. You could sign up right now and take it tomorrow without any kind of training. The requirement is that you have to be a member of the AAPC and pay the exam fee, but you're going to want to get good training so that you pass the certification exam. So there's a lot of things that might be recommended, but the only requirements are that you have to be a member and pay for the certification exam and pass it. Although just a heads up, if you are pursuing the CPC, if you do not have 2 years experience or an equivalency to 2 years experience, you will be automatically designated an apprentice coder. There's a couple of ways you can shorten that time. One is by completing AAPC's Practicode program, which is basically a whole bunch of mock modules or cases that they say, hey, here's some surgical notes, operative notes, office notes, and then code them. And then once you complete them all at 70%, that will take 1 year off your apprenticeship status. The other thing that will take a year off of your apprenticeship status is if you go through a program where you can prove you did at least 80 contact hours of medical coding schooling. And that's where programs like Preppy really shine because they provide 80 contact hours and they offer an externship, which is a huge deal for gaining real world experience. More on that in a minute. You also really need to weigh how much support you need and also how much you're willing to pay. Everyone learns differently. So think about the kind of support you're going to need. If you are someone who thrives in a hands-on environment, you might want an in-person class with access to instructors, but keep in mind that will likely come at a higher price tag because there's more involved in that. There's more that the educational institution has to take on because they're going to have to pay for an instructor to be there for you. So that's a huge cost of overhead. And, they have to have people that are skilled in medical coding to teach it and be available for questions, especially if you have questions outside of business hours or you're expecting for someone to, have 24/7 teacher assistants. And you really can't expect that high level of detail and that high level of personal touch when you're looking for something that's budget friendly. Programs like Preppy, though, kind of strike a balance because they offer a lot of flexibility and resources while still being affordable. Because a lot of times you do need to watch out for things like hidden fees. Are your lab fees included? Are books included? Are you going to need to pay separately for your AAPC membership or exam fees? So, for example, with Preppy, some of those costs are separate, the membership, the exam fee, because not everyone wants to go for that particular certification. But their pricing is very transparent, and they even include things like a laptop if you pay in full. And because not everyone wants to pursue those same certifications, a lot of extra costs are included in that general fee. But let's be real for a second. No matter what program you choose, you're going to find negative reviews. It doesn't matter if it's Preppy. It doesn't matter if it's AAPC. It doesn't matter if it is Yale. If you literally go online right now to the Better Business Bureau and look up these major league colleges, you will find really piss poor reviews of them. People love to vent online. And some of it, honestly, is just noise. So if you're looking for a program that's flexible, it's affordable, it's job focused, Preppy is one that I would really highly recommend. And I do want to be very forthright about the fact that this is sponsored by Preppy, but I do want to also focus on why I think Preppy is so great, because you get those 80 contact hours. So that will help shorten your apprenticeship status. They do offer an externship. So that is real world experience, which is very, very rare for online programs. And they have payment flexibility. So they do have payment plans available. And again, if you pay in full, you can even get a laptop. It is designed to set you up for success while still being accessible. I have seen programs that are now trying to offer something similar, but they are paying over 3 times, maybe 4 times what Preppy costs. So if you want to get all the bells and whistles, but at a lower fee, Preppy is the way to go. But choosing the right medical billing and coding school is a huge decision. But remember, it's your career, it's your future, and it is your chance to build a better life. So you have to do some research. Make sure you choose a program that aligns with your goals and your budget. But be careful about that noise of online negativity. Don't let that hold you back. I have seen some very awesome programs that people will just throw under the bus online. And it's because it's their direct competition and they're having people intentionally do that. So you really do have to take a deep dive. And if Preppy sounds like it's the right fit for you, check out the link in the description for my free career masterclass to find out more at medicalcodingmasterclass.com. And if you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more tips, and leave a comment with your questions. Thanks for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. And until then, just keep on coding on.